talk, but I'm here with a very special guest. Cali will be my co host on a weekly basis, and hopefully, we can give you guys some pretty good content. Cali, do you want to go introduce yourself and then we can get this going?
Yeah, sure. Hi. That's me. Short and sweet.
Hey, fantastic. So, Callie and I have known each other for what, approximately 11 years now,
Yeah,
2012,
yeah, long
and
time.
a long time. We met in Doha, Qatar, and yeah, we worked together from museums to a lot of different things, and yeah, we used to party hard until we didn't.
Yeah, yeah, kept ourselves out of trouble somehow.
Yeah, that's true. We survived all
That's
this
good.
time. Yeah.
Desert
Oh,
life.
yeah, exactly. Desert life. And now we both live in the Western world. Yeah, you managed to keep going back and forth between the Middle East and England, I believe.
Yeah. You see, that's
Uh,
the thing about technology, where you're in the States, I'm in England, and yeah, it's going.
yeah. So how does it feel like going back and forth? Does it get stressful or do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's like when you have a family, it's a bit hard. I'll confess, because you have kids and you have to say bye, and to be honest, I am that type of person. When I'm home, I want to travel. When I'm traveling, I want to be home. You get it? So it's never perfect.
Yes, I
um,
know. I know exactly
so
what you mean.
and sometime you're taken away longer period than expected, and kids are you have to be there to bring up the kids and family and blah blah blah. But right now things are, you need to put how you take care of business and put food on the table, and it's not that easy. So I'm just grateful, to be honest, that I'm able to carry that. When you become, I mean, I'm starting to talk a lot already, but when you're becoming a father, right? All these
Yes.
responsibilities come on you, and no matter what people prepare you, but when it really happens, as soon as I got my baby in my hand, right? I appreciated
Mm-hmm.
my parents straight away.
Yes.
Because you can't give this baby back. Usually, you always give it back, right, to somebody else, and now this baby has to go home.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. You know what's crazy is that also I do believe that when we met over there, you already had a couple of kids, and then you
Yeah,
had the third one as well.
yeah.
And just living in the Middle East, was it a huge cultural shift for you prior to? Because I know that you've lived there before
Yeah,
in
yeah,
different countries.
yeah.
But how was the shift for your family as well?
You know what? So I'll just go back a bit. So I'm Indian African mixed, and my parents lived in Oman and still live in Oman. So kind of I was culturally kind of between India, Africa, and the Arab world. So you have that cultural awareness. But my wife Tara she's English. She grew up in England. She's experienced kind of being in Africa and all that when she was traveling. And to be honest, you know what? I was in England, had the first kid, and no planning what you're going to do next. And suddenly you're like, you need money, right? Everything is on you, and you're like, whatever comes, you're going to take. And an opportunity came in Qatar. This is 2009, and I just took it, never looked back. But for me, it was easy. But for Tara, it was like, adjusting, being out of your no family support. You have to be reliant on yourself because there's no community as such at the beginning while you're making things work, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's the other. But one strange thing I want to talk about, right? So you make a lot of friends, as you already know in Qatar, and right.
Mm-hmm.
And for a family guy, your community is your compound because you live a compound life, right?
Yes.
And you think that everything is fine, and suddenly all the people that you're close to in your compound leave, and suddenly you feel alone because the life is only inside a compound,
Yes.
and suddenly
Yes.
you feel alone. We felt alone, but so Tara had enough, and she wanted to go back to England, and I think, to be honest, it was the right time to get back. And so
And
that
it's
was
not like that in
2002.
England, right? In England, it's more like of a community-oriented country, or because even in the United States, it's almost as similar as Qatar, but on a
Mm,
Western side. Because here
mm.
people are not as connected, and I do believe 90% of the population here will agree. You're like isolated, even though that it's more of a Western. And I think maybe it's because of the size of the country, but it is a very isolated country, and you only meet at certain events or if you know your kids from schools, etc. It's very similar to Qatar. I wanted to
Uh-huh.
know, in England, why is it different?
Okay, so where we live in a little village in
Mm-hmm.
the UK with only around 3,000 people, right? So it's a very small community surrounded by farms and a farming and that type of rural community. And so everybody is really kind of a very close knit community. And Tara's parents are like 10 minutes drive from here. Her sister is here, and Tara's had her very old friends from the area because she grew up in this area. So there is definitely a sense of community. Um, I can't say it's not like African community where your uncle, you live with your brother next door, and it's not that community as what I'm used to. Like, how do you call extended family when everybody lives. It comes with its own kind of. Sometimes you want your own privacy, and your uncle is there, your
Yes.
aunt is there. Yeah, it's not like
Yes.
that. Yeah, you still have a
Yeah.
sense of community. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but you know what? To make sure that we are kind of good on Qatar, yeah. Qatar is
Yeah.
like at least what it was is a transient place, right? It's cosmopolitan,
Yes.
it's growing. People come and go a lot. So when
Yes.
you make friends and then people leave, right? They go away. So that's
Correct.
why it's transient. It's not that community is not there. There is a sense of community, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not people don't stay for very long. Everybody's coming there for a couple of years and they leave, and that's what happened to us too.
Yes.
When you talk about so the transient place and also the dynamics of Qatar in terms of culture, so you've got the Qatari, then you've got for example, different ethnic groups, whether it's Lebanon in your case, or for me, Indian and Pakistani, and everybody since tend to kind of move within their own social structure, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it's like I guess it's everywhere. Like it's similar to the states. You kind of live, whether in a city, and your community is who you know and who you kind of
Build
liaise with,
relationships
your
around. Yes.
relationships with. Yeah,
That
yeah.
makes sense. I wanted to talk about this really quick. Is
Mm,
when you and I met in Qatar, the
mm,
first year, it was to be honest, it was like one of my favorite years that I could remember. We had a
mm,
tons of fun, but at the
mm,
same time, we also went through some drastical changes in our lives, and
yeah.
it came at a time where I was still growing up, and I didn't know how to go about things. I didn't have family there, even though I'm Arab, I'm Lebanese. I come from that culture, but like moving from Lebanon to Qatar, it was such a huge shift for me because I wasn't aware of this culture, even though I'm Arab as well. It's also different. So moving there and then meeting you and then going through myself like a traumatic experience of I believe I lost my job and I broke my leg at the same time, and I had
Yeah,
no idea what to do. I didn't know what to do, and even the housing that I was staying in, it was given to me by my previous job.
yeah.
And dude, I will never ever forget you coming home to me, and I remember you were like, Mustafa, olive oil, onions, and garlic. That's your
Yeah,
base of your food. If you have
yeah.
this, then you're set up. And I swear to
Correct.
God, man, since that day, people ask me all the time, who taught you how to cook? Who taught you how to do this? Because listen, man, I'm not bragging here, but I make incredible foods now. And and all thanks to you, to your olive oil, garlic, and it's really difficult for people to travel and live abroad and not to have that type of friendship or relationship with certain people where they can teach them things. And my relationship with you and friendship with you has always been it's a learning friendship. It's like I always learn from you. I
Yeah.
always try to understand Oh, Kali's taking care of his family. That's a really good thing to do. Kali makes food for his family. He helps around the house. He does things. Those
Yeah,
values we take for granted. You know, a lot of people take for granted, and especially right now with this generation, it's really difficult. And that's where technology comes in. We're really
yeah,
stuck to our phones all the time. We're stuck to our computers all the time. So when someone just decided to leave their country, their home, what they're used to, and then they go outside to the real world, if they don't have friends and folks like ourselves that we can support one another, they're gonna really suffer. They're gonna go through it, and I think
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, I think that's how people are gonna like learn is once they get into that situation, but not having someone to help and guide because even though like we never really cared about any age gap in any situation or anything, but at the same time I feel if you and I were the same age, I would have never possibly learned from you unless you had the experience of like try to teach me something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was tough time, I must say. I
Yes.
remember, and I remember saying to myself, what's the worst can happen? And every time I said that, the worst thing,
Yeah.
you
I'm
know,
scared of that sentence now. Yeah.
you
What's
know
the
what I
worst that
mean?
can happen?
Yeah, I
Flying
was
in a
like,
BMW on a
yeah,
highway.
exactly, exactly. Every time, like, I was like, this guy, he's going through a tough patch of his life, and I'm sure it can't get any worse. 2 days later, it gets worse.
Man, I want to tell the story
Yeah,
really quick. I will, I will never forget driving back on a
yeah,
highway in the middle of the
yeah,
night at Pearl, Qatar. You and I were
yeah.
having the time of our lives, and as we were driving, suddenly I'm in midair in the car, staring at you, like trying to, and I'm like, "What is going on here?" And then suddenly, like, I remember you taking a photo of me
Yeah,
and my car
you.
getting towed, and the engine died. That was
But you know what's
one
good
hell of
thing?
an
You
experience.
you 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 still smile in that photo, even though you didn't want to.
Hey man, it was a memory that 10 years later we could still talk about, you know?
It was the best because I remember that. Remember, welcome to Qatar. The only thing that was BMW was the
I remember that.
you
Oh my god.
remember the doors, the windows.
Yeah.
I
And you know what?
swear.
I was still paying for it. That's the
I
crazy part. I was
know.
still
Oh
like
man, I
even
swear.
2 years after
Ah.
that accident, I was like, yes, today's my final payment. Oh my goodness. two
I mean,
years
I'm telling
later.
you, that's when you're young and when we are trying to, yeah, you can
It
get
was a
caught
good
up doing.
lesson. It was a good lesson. I
It
honestly,
was.
I'm very grateful it happened. Like, I don't regret anything in my life. I'm so grateful I went through everything that I've gotten through because it got me to where I am today, doing a podcast
Exactly.
with you. That's the
No,
peak of
not
my
only
life.
that, not only that, honestly, you have to be stretched out of your comfort zone.
Yes,
That's how you're
yes,
going to be strong and you're going to be what you come through, right?
yes,
The
a
mental,
hundred percent.
physical, emotional strength doesn't come. Look, no matter how things tough are, you always look back and no. I mean, come on, we've all been through some really tough times, right? But you all
Yes,
look back and you laugh, right? You can't believe it. At that time you feel like the whole world is going to end, right?
yes,
A few years down the line, you laugh at every little thing, right?
yes,
But yeah,
yes.
I remember, yeah, coming to your place, and we still had fun, man. We still had fun.
Absolutely. I also remember one time, it was back when I used to drink because right now I don't drink. I haven't had a drink since 2019. I decided to no longer go with it. I even became vegan for about three
Wow.
years, and only
Yeah.
last month, for the first time, I had chicken. And
Wow.
trust me, man, I can tell you that it was the best feeling ever. Just because I've been doing boxing for a little while now, and I needed some
Wow.
muscle
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm
Protein.
very grateful. Yeah, exactly. Very grateful that I was able to have chicken, but I still don't have cheese. I still don't eat meat.
Yeah.
I still
You
take
don't
care.
eat
But I
meat.
I
You
don't
only eat
just
chicken.
just chicken, beef. I meant beef. I meant beef. I meant beef.
I don't eat. I'm vegan. I only eat beef.
Exactly. I only eat beef. That's the
Yeah.
new vegan, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But talking about that, I remember one time we had a birthday party, and I remember that I had hummus and I had vodka the night before, and then I had to call you, and I'm like, Callie, I'm crawling on the ground. I don't know what's wrong with me, and
Yeah.
I got food
Yeah.
poisoning. And then you
Yeah.
immediately came over to mine and took care of me and made sure I
Yeah.
wasn't dying.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
those moments in life, I think they grow a friendship and make them into a brotherhood.
You
Yes,
realize who your
yes,
friends are, man, when nobody
yes,
shows up.
yes,
when
yeah, yeah.
when you
Where
have
the fuck are they?
when you party, right? You have a lot
Yes,
of friends. When you go through
yes,
shit, like the door is
yes,
not.
exactly. And then you have
Yeah,
people
yeah.
sitting in the next room, and you're like, "Who are you guys?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
my
anyway,
goodness.
that's a
So
good one, man.
I'm very grateful for technology because it also like kept us close, even though sometimes we don't speak for a short period of time. But then as soon
Yeah,
as we speak to one another, we immediately go back to those good times because not only we've learned about each other, also I've learned a lot from you and not just about you as well. And I feel that those are the best kind of friendships to keep in your life. You know, it's just constant learning from one another, constantly understanding how the world works, and seeing who your true friends are. That is truly it. Because even though that we haven't seen each other in 10 years, but my circle of friends is very small. Everything else around it goes around business. To be honest with you, is just trying
yeah,
to benefit one another in business, but otherwise, like my friendship, I consider them family, and either at that level or I honestly don't feel it will benefit me in the long term. Especially being a family man, you know, having
yeah.
kids, that would change your entire perspective on things.
Of course, it does. It does. You know.
Yeah.
So, what brought you to Qatar then? I know we know this, but yeah. So, what made you?
Yeah. Yeah, so to be fair, I wanted to make money. I didn't have any money back in Lebanon. Lebanon was, I could see it economically dying slowly, slowly, and we're seeing it right now in the present day. I saw this happening just when I was a kid. I'm like, I don't see a future in this country. I don't see anything progressing. I don't see anything changing. The people in government are still the same. And even though I don't want to get political, but this is the reality of things. Lebanon is in a really bad place right now. And what I'm
Yeah.
seeing in Lebanon happening, it happened exactly a couple of years ago in Venezuela, where you see their currency just went down the drain. And the same thing is
Is that what's
happening in
happening?
Lebanon.
Is it that what's
Yes.
happening in Lebanon right now?
Yeah, yes, yes. Like just when the pandemic happened, you know, the dollar was approximately 1,500, and it's been the same for like years, long years, 20, 30 years or something like this, where the
Yeah.
currency was very stable. And
Uh-huh.
now it went from 1,500 to gradually it's at 104,000.
Wow.
the and then the jobs are not even paying or equalizing whatever is being lost in currency. So people are
Yeah.
going to the grocery store and like let's say if you want to buy strawberries, you could have bought them prior for like 2,000. Now you have to pay 100,000, and
Jeez.
your yeah exactly, and then your job is not paying you enough. It's not like equalizing whatever is being lost. So and if you go to the bank, you can't take your money out, even if you have money, because the banks are like, we don't have any cash on us. So politicians took all the money out. They just ran through the banks and sent their money outside. And now the country is in a really bad place. Unless Lebanese people, they have family or businesses abroad, it's people are suffering fundamentally,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
especially after the explosion, you know, the 2000 and the 2020 explosion. I think it
Yeah.
was around October. That also ruined the infrastructure of the capital, and a lot of people had to move. A lot of people had to leave the country, and unfortunately, Lebanon has a really rich history of people leaving, people getting hurt financially, and it's really unfortunate because it's such a beautiful country. Like it's gorgeous. Yeah,
Habibi business.
Habibi business. You have money, come. You don't have money, stay away. You know. We have good
Very
food,
simple.
best food in the world.
Very simple.
Yes, exactly. Have you been to
Fantastic.
Lebanon before? I know you've been to the Middle East.
Yeah, no, not Lebanon, not Lebanon, not yet, not
Yalla,
yet.
Habibi, come spend your money there.
Yeah. I will spend the money that I don't have, no problem at all.
In this
So cool.
economical state of mind, yeah.
Yeah, so that's so yeah, great start.
Yes.
Warmed up into this podcast. You know what we talk about? I think I was listening to your thing about manifestation, right? So
Yes.
a month ago, so I was like getting this thing. I always get these shit ideas. I want to do podcasts. I want to do this, that, this type of stuff, right? I
Mm-hmm.
want to start a YouTube channel. I get this. I get the power, and then it all fizzles down, right? So
Yes.
it's just then I saw your podcast on you posted it on social media channels and started listening. Oh, Parapung, here we are, you know,
Yes.
and how things
Ma-
work.
manifestation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And
it's yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that in like one of the episodes, I've only posted like 6 or 7 episodes, but one of the episodes I was talking about how it's always really difficult just to start. Like that's the
Yeah,
most difficult part because
yeah,
I think our thoughts will start eating us, and it will start saying it's not gonna get anywhere. It's a lot of work. I don't know if I'm gonna do this right. I don't know what's
mm,
gonna happen. But then as
yeah,
soon as I started, and then it organically happened, and yeah, here we are.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a very interesting episodes, your experiences in the States, in Peru, and all that. I think we'll touch at some point, slowly. So it's good to
Yes.
just get this kind of up and running and
Yes.
moving in whichever direction it takes. So
Yes.
So how do you see it evolving and going, and what what approach?
Yeah, so you know what's funny is I did the first episode and I was in a really sad place. I was sad and I didn't want to talk to people about it because I know a lot of people are going through their own challenges, and for me to bring my sadness into their world, it felt like an extra, you know? I'm like, "Hey, you're sad? Let me tell you some sad stuff."
If you
Yeah.
think your life is shit, listen to me.
Exactly. Exactly.
You'll feel better of yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is where I said to myself, I'm like, you know what? I need to motivate myself. How do I motivate myself? Let me start a podcast and let me say the things that I want to tell myself, but I'll use it as if like I'm speaking to someone else. Because all I want to do is help myself and help others. That is the number one thing because it all goes back to the self. If we love ourselves and then if we care about ourselves, then we can be in a certain vibrational place where we're emitting positive energy. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what I want to do is give positive energy. I don't want people to listen to me be like, this depressed motherfucker. I don't want to listen to this shit, you know?
Yeah.
So after I heard the first episode, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have a lot to say. What am I gonna say in the second episode? And then I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? Just use
Yeah.
your feelings and
Yeah.
start talking about things. And sometimes I would
Right.
start talking without thinking, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. I don't want this to be edited. I want this to be very organic.
Correct.
And episode after episode, I started getting the hang of it.
Mm.
And so this is where I see things going is that episode per episode because it's going to be a long-term project.
Yeah.
I'm in love with this project. I love it so
Good.
much because not only you are fully yourself, but at the same time, you can reach out to people without really getting in their face. You could just
Yeah.
send them a link and be like, "Hey, listen to this and see my experience." And some people who genuinely care about you will start listening, and then slowly,
Yeah.
slowly, it'll grow towards an audience. And this episode, even though we have it like on a video on Riverside, but
Yeah.
I don't want to use the visual of it. I just want to use the audio.
Mm.
and then we'll refine per episode. This episode was basically about introduction, just to
Yeah,
understand who we are, what do we want to do here. But I feel it's
correct.
basically motivation and inspiration, and just anything that we can share with our stories, with our experiences,
Yeah.
whatever people we can reach out to. I think that would be the number one thing for me. What about you? I want to know your thoughts on this.
You know what? I'm going in this completely unknowing, you know?
Yes,
Totally. I
yes,
mean, to be honest, I thought that you were very brave when you started because you're showing your vulnerabilities, the insecurities, the things that everybody wants to put out there everybody wants to show how strong they are, right?
yes,
It's like on
yes.
social media, everybody's showing how happy they are. You never see when the cameras go
The
off.
opposite side. Yes,
Yeah, no
yes.
one shows. Yeah, for some reason, everybody seems to be very happy. you know, this reminds me of something. I'm going off on a tangent, but I'll tell you one thing. There is on this YouTube every now and then this Finnish comedian, stand-up comedian, right? And he was talking about Finland was declared the most happiest country in the world, right? And he's like, I am surprised, all right, because I'm depressed. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. He's like, which, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's really cool guy. He's like, with yeah. I like his way of comedy because he's very serious. He's not
And
joking,
it's
but he's
sarcastic too.
yeah, and he's very funny. But what I'm saying is that showing the vulnerabilities and insecurities, and I was like, you know what? I know Mustafa, and I'm sure we can do something because I had that in mind. So I have no idea what I'm doing, to be honest. I've never done this. This is the first time. I'm not, you know, technology type of person. So for me, it's incredible that it's a journey. To enjoy it, it will go wherever it needs to, and hopefully learn something and just share.
Yes. This is great that you're saying this, because I can genuinely say, and you know this best, a lot of people that are in your position that don't have the blessing of such a friendship or people that can actually lift them up like we lift each other up.
Mm,
They're gonna listen to us and they're gonna be like, if they can do it, I know I can. If they can do this, whatever I want to do, I can do. So for me, the number one thing is about inspiration and motivation. If we can inspire and motivate other people through our experiences, that's it. Job is done for me, honestly. And to be fair, what better thing I'd rather do than to speak to my brother overseas on a
exactly.
podcast and
Yeah,
just kick it and have a
exactly.
good time, you know?
You know what? To be
Yeah.
honest, I'll tell you, we just needed an excuse, right? Yeah, we want to show how amazing and intelligent we are, but
Exactly.
we just wanted a platform to talk shit.
Exactly. Look how cool I am.
So, you know, it's gonna happen. So,
That was
we'll
awesome.
see. Yeah,
Well, this is the first episode. Plenty of more to come. I'm very happy that this has been very organic, very flowy, lots of laughs, and soon, you know what, guys, I'm gonna
lots
start
of
writing
cries.
jokes. Yeah.
enjoy, enjoy
Yeah.
today's episode with lots of laughter because the other one we're going to be
Exactly.
crying.
Exactly. At one point, I'm gonna fucking start weeping here.
Tomorrow I'm gonna get my tissue box ready. You
And then
know,
three weeks from now, Kali's gonna tell me, Mustafa, we wanted to have fun here. I didn't want to be your therapist on this shit.
yeah, exactly.
You're using me.
It's not gonna be for free, man.
I'll start showing you guys the Venmos that I've been sending to my therapist. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
man. Yeah, yeah. Cool, man.
Well,
So,
this has been an incredible episode. Thank you guys so much
yeah,
for listening.
yeah.
Until next time.
Time catch up later. So, are we going to come up with like those, the music thing people do at the beginning of an episode?
Oh
You know,
yes, yes, yes. You know
I have
what?
no idea what I'm doing.
I'll send you some options,
Yeah.
or if you'd rather, guys, I'm not flexing, but I can record my own music as well.
Yeah,
La, 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 la.
And I can do an Indian accent very well.
Fantastic. Yalla khalas, we have an
Yeah.
international flavor.
Yeah, we'll pretend we have all kinds of people, right? So hey,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Cool. So
Awesome.
until next time.
This is the 30-minute mark. Cali, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. This is our first episode. We still got to come up with a name, but thank you guys for
Yeah,
listening.
it will happen. See you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.